In this video, I'll show my go-to favorite tools. I've gotten quite a few comments about what tools I use and recommend, so I figured it would be helpful to have a video to direct people to. To start off, I figured I'd show you the knives that I use. The first one is this knife from Beavercraft. I've been loving this knife. It has a great handle shape and size, fits perfect in the hand, and the blade has stayed really sharp over the years. I tend to use this a lot for roughing out, just because, like I said, the blade is bigger. It's good for just taking like big chunks out, especially in cottonwood. But even as a rough out, it also is really sharp, as you could see. It had maintained its blade. I've had this for a few years, so definitely one I'll be keeping for a long time. One knife that's kind of phasing out is this Helvy detail knife. I love this knife. It's great. I just tend not to use it as much as I used to, but I'll explain more of that later. My other Helvy knife that I use all the time is definitely a workhorse. It's super sharp, so I tend to use this for more detailed cuts, like if I'm doing nostrils or eyes and I want a really clean cut. This is my go-to knife. Now here's my workhorse. This is the first ever carving knife that I bought. This is a flex cut, and I use this thing for roughing out, for detailing, just an overall great knife. If you're just starting out carving, I recommend that you get a good Kevlar glove. It'll definitely save you on some band-aids, prevent some nicks and cuts that will happen as you're getting comfortable using your tool. So if you've been carving for a while, you may want to skip this part, but I figured this was a good opportunity to go over some basic cuts that you can make with your knife. So the first cut is called the slicing cut, and you're just slicing up on the wood. You could also use your thumb to help guide the blade through the wood. You can also be a little more aggressive with it if you're removing a lot of bulk. Okay, the next cut is one that I use quite a bit, especially while I'm whittling. This is called a pull cut, and you're literally pulling the knife towards you. So just some safety to keep in mind. You could see the blade is sort of resting on my my index finger there, and my thumb is safely below where I'll be pulling back with the knife. So you could see my thumb is out of the way, not going to get cut. Okay, and then you could just push up with your thumb and kind of pinch back with the rest of your hand, and it's a really quick and effective way to get rid of a lot of wood. The next cut is a stop cut. This is a really important technique to understand. To make a stop cut is like you're slicing into the wood. That's going to be your stop. And then now you could either slice up or down and remove that little chip. This wasn't a perfect cut. I didn't quite meet it, so I'm just going to go back in and slice down till the chip comes out. So this is great if you're carving noses or detail like fingers. You got to know how to use a stop cut. So the next tool that I'll show you is the Pom tool, and this is a skew tip. You could tell by the diagonal shape that it has. I use this for mainly cuts that I really can't reach in with my knife. It's got that smaller blade. It's just a really helpful tool to have around. The next tool that I'll show you is another Pom tool. This is a number 7 palm gouge. So the number 7 is the swoop that this gouge has, and it is a great tool for, there's so many applications. You can see it cuts nicely through the wood to give a nice rounded concave cut. It's a really awesome tool to start carving hair. You can get these nice S-like shapes. I also use this a lot for carving out the eye sockets, and you can do that around the nostrils and just get, again, those nice concave cuts. It's also great for making a stop cut under the nose for nostrils. So a little tip is use the blade to make that nice rounded stop cut, then flip it and you can clean up underneath. For any rounded tool, you can also just use the outer cutting edge to get some nice clean cuts that you might not be able to get with just a knife blade. So the next Pom tool that I'll show you is the U-gouge. This is, I believe, a number 9 gouge. It's got that U shape, and this is a tool you'll use for detailing. So let me get a little closer so you can see this. When you use the U gouge, you kind of use it to define cuts you've already established. So like if I'm carving hair, this gives it even more detail. Just a slice to show you, it cuts in quite a bit deeper than that number 7. Like I said, you could see this in action carving hair on this figure. Underneath that cut, you could see I used the number 7 tool that I talked about to kind of establish the flow of the hair, and then now using the number 9, I get the details. Another detail tool is this V gouge. Obviously, it's got that V shape. There's a couple different sizes you can get. I just used this one. It's been perfect for me, and this is great for really establishing detail in the cuts. So again, just like the number 9 was deeper than the number 7 gouge, the V just gets in even deeper for a nice clean cut. So again, back to this figure, you could see me using the V tool, cleaning up a lot of those cuts and somewhat detail I already established, but now the V is just going in as like a refining tool and really showing those wrinkles that I kind of already hinted at. At the other end of the tool roll, I have my micro gouges. Now these are awesome tools. I tend to use them all the time, but as you could see, it's a little hard to focus. They're super tiny. It's for getting really refined details. If you're just getting started out carving, I would not rush out and buy these set. Wait, save your money. Make sure you really like the hobby. Get used to the tools on a larger scale before you jump into something like this. You could see it here in action as I start carving the eyelids in this figure. All right, and last is I have my replacement for the detail knife I told you I've been phasing out is just a regular X-Acto blade. I find you'll never get your knife blades as sharp as a razor blade, and they're cheap enough that when they dull or break, you just pop a new one in. You don't have to worry about reshaping or anything like that. You always get a nice clean cut. So I've been doing a lot of detail. As you could see in this figure, I'm going in where the beard meets the cheek. I got a nice clean stop cut and take a nice little slice out. You could also see me carving the eyelids and kind of carving under and just getting that really nice clean cut. My last recommendation would be to get a good set of diamond files. There's coarse and fine, and these are great before using sandpaper to clean up your carving. As you can see, I don't have too many tools. I do have a larger tool roll with gouges and chisels for carving larger pieces, but I'll show that in a later video. If you're just getting started, there is so much you could do with some knives and a basic set of Pom Tools. I hope this video has been helpful. You can let me know if you have any questions in the comment section. Thanks for watching, and consider subscribing for more carving videos.